May 1941. The skies over Crete. Nazi Germany's elite paratroopers, the Fallschirmjäger, descend into history. But this was no easy conquest. Allied guns answered with a ferocious, unyielding curtain of steel and fire. Below, a nightmare awaited. Paratroopers plunged into an inferno, facing unexpected, brutal resistance from every corner. British, Australian, New Zealand, and Greek defenders, outnumbered but defiant, unleashed hell upon the invaders. This was Operation Mercury, a desperate gamble, a brutal reality, where an elite force faced unprecedented odds. Crete, a seemingly small island, held immense strategic value. It was a crucial linchpin for Mediterranean dominance. The Fallschirmjäger, Hitler's elite stormtroopers, were deemed invincible, masters of airborne assault and shock tactics. Yet, on Crete, a formidable Allied coalition awaited them. Digging in, they prepared to defend their ground fiercely. Armed with resolve and firepower, these defenders would transform Crete into a graveyard for the airborne elite. How did Nazi Germany's seemingly invincible paratroopers encounter such overwhelming odds and a crushing, unforeseen defeat? This brutal campaign forever altered their strategic future, a cautionary tale of hubris against unwavering resistance. It was a story of unparalleled bravery, brutal asymmetrical warfare, and desperate hand-to-hand combat on every front. Here, British firepower and Allied defiance turned the tide. This was a pivotal moment in the entire war. Join us as we dive deep into the Battle of Crete, an epic narrative of sacrifice, strategy, and an elite force crushed. By early 1941, Europe was gripped by an unforgiving war, its future hanging precariously in the balance. Nazi Germany's relentless war machine had swept across the continent, redrawing maps with brutal efficiency. Yet, a crucial theater remained fiercely contested: the vast, strategic expanse of the Mediterranean. For the Allies, controlling these vital sea lanes was paramount to sustaining their global war effort. Adolf Hitler harbored grand ambitions for Mediterranean dominance, essential for his burgeoning empire. Controlling this sea would secure supply lines and launch pads into North Africa and the resource-rich Middle East. Amidst this geopolitical chess game, one island became an undeniable strategic prize: the island of Crete. Crete's position was critical, effectively blocking or opening sea lanes for the Royal Navy and Axis forces. Its airfields could either safeguard Allied shipping or launch devastating attacks against them. For the Allies, Crete was an indispensable outpost, a crucial shield for their operations. Allied air power, based on Crete, could disrupt Axis movements across the entire eastern Mediterranean. It was a vital stepping stone, protecting the Suez Canal and crucial supply routes to North Africa. Without it, the entire Allied strategic position in the region would become dangerously exposed. Crete was a beacon of Allied resolve, a testament to their unwavering commitment to hold the line. Thus, this seemingly modest island became a linchpin in the colossal struggle for global supremacy. To secure this prize, Hitler conceived an audacious, unprecedented plan, a high-stakes gamble. He would unleash history's first major airborne invasion, a daring maneuver unlike any seen before. Thousands of elite Nazi German paratroopers would descend from the skies, seizing key objectives. The sheer scale of this operation presented immense logistical challenges, pushing military doctrine to its limits. The world watched, unaware of the brutal, unconventional battle about to erupt over Crete's shores. Central to this daring plan were Nazi Germany's Fallschirmjäger, the Green Devils of the Luftwaffe. They were an elite force, renowned for their discipline, training, and unwavering combat prowess. Their reputation for fierce fighting and tenacity preceded them across every battlefield in Europe. These men were expected to strike fast and hard, securing critical airfields before Allied resistance coalesced. Their mission? To seize the island's vital airfields and ports, opening the way for seaborne reinforcements. They were ready, honed weapons in Nazi Germany's arsenal, prepared for a deadly descent. Awaiting them were the Allied defenders, a diverse, multinational force, stretched but determined. British troops, many veterans of Greece, stood shoulder to shoulder with their Commonwealth allies. Australian and New Zealand infantry, fierce and resourceful, fortified the island's strategic points. Courageous Greek forces, though often poorly equipped, fiercely defended their homeland against the invaders. These defenders, a patchwork of units, faced logistical hurdles and fragmented command structures. Despite their courage, they lacked heavy artillery and adequate anti-aircraft defenses, a critical vulnerability. Logistical challenges plagued both sides, but especially Nazi Germany's ambitious airborne operation. A shortage of transport aircraft and limited drop zones compounded the invasion's inherent risks. Yet, it was intelligence failures that truly set the stage for the unfolding catastrophe. Allied intelligence had warning of the invasion, but its scale and nature were disastrously underestimated. This critical lapse would cost countless lives, transforming Crete into a crucible of unimaginable savagery. Thus, the stage was set for one of World War II's most brutal and unconventional battles. May 20, 1941, Operation Mercury. Nazi Germany's audacious airborne invasion of Crete began at dawn. Elite paratroopers, the Fallschirmjäger, prepared for a descent into what they believed would be quick victory. The skies over Crete soon darkened. The ferocious Luftwaffe bombardment was the invasion's thunderous overture. Malem Airfield, a vital prize, bore the initial brunt, pounded by relentless German aerial assaults. Allied defenders, though battered, held their ground, their resolve hardened by the incoming inferno. The bombardment aimed to shatter morale and defenses, preparing the ground for the airborne assault. Then, a new terror emerged. The distinct roar of hundreds of transport aircraft carrying Nazi Germany's paratroopers. Anticipation, fear, and grim determination filled every cabin. The point of no return approached rapidly. The nightmare of the airborne drops began. Thousands of elite Fallschirmjäger spilled from the sky. But the descent was no silent glide. Intense anti-aircraft and ground fire erupted from below. Nazi Germany's formations were savaged mid-air. Parachutes became deadly targets, turning the sky into a charnel house. It was a desperate struggle for survival. Many never reached the ground, or landed mortally wounded. The initial assaults targeted key objectives: Malem Airfield, Chania, Rethymno, and Heraklion. At Malem, paratroopers landed directly into a storm of British machine gun and rifle fire. The brutal reality of close-quarters combat was immediate. There was no respite for the invaders. British and New Zealand defenders, though outnumbered in the air, fought ferociously on the ground. German advances stalled almost immediately. Landing zones were hotbeds of resistance, not easy conquests. Disorganization plagued the German effort. Scattered drops and heavy losses shattered initial plans. To the east, the historic city of Chania became another focal point for desperate airborne assaults. Allied and Greek resistance was ferocious. Civilians joined soldiers, defending their homes and freedom. Urban combat quickly devolved into a bloody stalemate. Every street, every building was bitterly contested. Determined Allied and Greek counterattacks began almost instantly, pushing back the initial German gains. Confusion reigned amongst the invaders. Expected rendezvous points were unreachable, communications severed. Further east, Rethymno faced its own aerial invasion, promising more fierce resistance and bloodshed. The landscape itself became an enemy. Harsh landings left many injured, disoriented, and vulnerable. The Fallschirmjäger's elite reputation was being severely tested against determined, dug-in defenders. Aggressive counterattacks pinned down the invaders, preventing them from consolidating their fragmented landings. The fields of Crete became a grim testament to the high cost of this audacious, yet flawed operation. Finally, Heraklion, the largest city, braced for its turn as waves of paratroopers descended upon it. Urban landings amplified the chaos. Defenders fired from every window, every alleyway, every rooftop. Immediate, brutal close-quarters combat erupted. every meter gained by the Germans came at a terrifying price. The sheer scale of the resistance and the resulting disorganization was crippling the invasion. Ordinary Cretans, fueled by patriotism and fury, joined the fight, further bewildering the invaders. By day's end, German advances were largely stalled. The island's defenders had held their ground. Communications were fractured, supply drops missed targets, and reinforcements were dangerously delayed. Determined Allied and Greek counterattacks exploited the German disarray, regaining critical ground relentlessly. Elite German paratroopers found themselves isolated and pinned down, fighting for mere survival. The fierce fight for Malem Airfield, and specifically Hill 107, would now define the entire campaign. The initial, crushing reality of Operation Mercury dawned upon Nazi Germany's high command. The elite Fallschirmjäger, deemed invincible, had met British steel and Greek defiance. Their dreams were crushed. Day one concluded with a bloody stalemate, setting the stage for a protracted, brutal struggle ahead. As the brutal second day dawned, the battle for Crete escalated into a desperate, unforgiving fight. Central to everything was Hill 107. Its commanding height overlooking Malem Airfield made it paramount. Nazi Germany's elite paratroopers, Fallschirmjäger, launched a relentless assault, pushing towards the summit. Allied defenders, outnumbered but defiant, met the onslaught with determined fire from entrenched positions. The hill became a maelstrom of steel and blood, a savage struggle for every inch of ground. Despite their valiant resistance, the sheer German numbers eventually overwhelmed the exhausted defenders. With Hill 107 secured, the critical Malem Airfield fell, a devastating blow to Allied hopes. Malem became Nazi Germany's lifeline, a fragile but vital gateway for reinforcements into Crete. The peril was extreme. Ju-52 transports braved constant Allied fire, attempting landings on the contested airstrip. Under a hail of bullets, these lumbering giants risked everything, carrying the decisive weight of war. Many fell, exploding in fireballs or crumpling on the runway. The cost of arrival was immense, but the Fallschirmjäger fought with grim determination, widening their foothold despite heavy losses. Soon, more transports landed, a steady flow of men and material strengthening the German hold. Crucially, the elite Gebirgsjäger, tough mountain troops, began their critical deployment to Crete. These hardened specialists brought fresh resolve and devastating firepower to the brutal island campaign. With Malem firmly under Nazi German control, the tide dramatically turned on the embattled island. Yet, hope still flickered. The Royal Navy, guardians of the sea, moved to intercept German reinforcements. Under the cloak of darkness, British warships raced towards their targets, a desperate gamble. Meanwhile, German seaborne reinforcements, an inviting target, plied the treacherous Mediterranean waters. Suddenly, hell unleashed. British guns roared, unleashing a devastating barrage upon the unsuspecting convoy. Chaos and destruction consumed the German ships. Flames lit the night, illuminating panic and desperation. The Royal Navy's guns inflicted truly heavy losses, sending hundreds of Nazi German soldiers to their watery graves. It was a crushing victory at sea, temporarily denying the enemy crucial manpower and supplies. For a fleeting moment, the Royal Navy held sway, a defiant challenge to Nazi Germany's dominance. But Nazi Germany's fury knew no bounds. The Luftwaffe prepared a devastating, vengeful aerial counterattack. Their target, the British fleet. The scream of Stuka signaled a new, terrifying chapter. British warships fought back with every gun, a desperate defense against overwhelming aerial might. Wave after wave of bombers rained down destruction, turning the sea into a cauldron of fire and shrapnel. Ship after ship sustained crippling blows. The Royal Navy endured unimaginable punishment from above. The cost was catastrophic. Precious warships lost, countless brave sailors killed or grievously wounded. With relentless precision, the Luftwaffe finally achieved absolute air dominance, sealing Crete's fate. Forced to withdraw, the Royal Navy retreated, abandoning the beleaguered Allied forces on Crete's shores. On land, The Allied collapse was now irreversible. Without naval support, all hope was lost. A fighting withdrawal began. A grueling, desperate march across the unforgiving terrain of the White Mountains. Every step was agony. Every moment a test of endurance against the relentless Greek heat and mountainous trails. Yet the pursuit was relentless. Nazi German forces harried their flanks, turning retreat into a desperate fight. Their only chance, Slovakia. A perilous evacuation awaited, if they could only reach the distant shore. Thousands huddled, exhausted and desperate, on Slovakia's beaches, gazing seaward for the Royal Navy. Then, silhouettes emerged from the darkness. The Royal Navy, despite their losses, had returned for their men. Under constant Luftwaffe threat, a frantic evacuation began, a testament to courage under unbearable pressure. Crete fell. A Pyrrhic victory for Nazi Germany, but a brutal, unforgettable chapter in Allied resolve. Crete, a victory for Nazi Germany, yes, but its true cost would echo through the annals of war. Initially hailed as a strategic success, the celebrations quickly faded when the casualty lists arrived. The elite Fallschirmjäger, Nazi Germany's revered paratroopers, had paid a catastrophic price. This was no ordinary victory. It was a Pyrrhic triumph, won at an unbearable, unsustainable human cost. Adolf Hitler, a staunch believer in airborne power, was reportedly furious over the brutal losses. He issued a decree. Never again would Nazi Germany launch another large-scale airborne invasion. This decision fundamentally changed the destiny of an entire branch of Nazi Germany's formidable military machine. Planned operations, particularly against Malta, were scrapped. Airborne doctrine would be irrevocably altered. The lessons of Crete resonated throughout Nazi Germany's high command, forcing a strategic reassessment. Before Crete, airborne assault was seen as the ultimate surprise weapon, a swift strike from the skies. Crete exposed the immense vulnerability of paratroopers when met by a well-prepared and determined defense. It was a brutal, bloody demonstration of the immense cost when air superiority was contested and ground resistance fierce. The sheer firepower unleashed by defenders proved too much, turning landing zones into veritable killing fields. The Allied forces on Crete fought with incredible tenacity, showcasing the power of a resolute defense. Allied powers, particularly the British and Americans, meticulously studied every detail of the battle. Crete had a profound strategic impact, denying Nazi Germany the capacity for future large-scale airborne gambits. This decision indirectly protected other key Allied strongholds, significantly impacting the Mediterranean theater. The battle highlighted Allied resilience, proving that even elite airborne forces could be blunted by courage. From the British garrison to Australian and New Zealand forces, their fighting spirit was unwavering. Beyond strategy and doctrine, Crete left an enduring legacy of immense bravery and unimaginable sacrifice. Both sides displayed extraordinary courage, forever etching their stories into the island's bloody soil. The island itself stands as a testament, a silent witness to one of history's most savage airborne battles. Crete fundamentally reshaped airborne doctrine, emphasizing stealth, surprise, and overwhelming initial force. The crushing experience of Nazi Germany's paratroopers served as a stark, unforgettable cautionary tale. Its lessons directly influenced Allied planning for future airborne operations, like D-Day's careful execution. The strategic vacuum left by crippled airborne forces impacted troop allocations across the broader war effort. Allied paratroopers learned to prioritize secure landing zones and immediate ground link-ups, avoiding Crete's pitfalls. The legacy of blood on Crete forced a paradigm shift, altering military strategy for generations to come. Crete remains a testament to human endurance, a brutal, yet pivotal, chapter in the history of warfare. Crete, a crucible of courage, etched an indelible mark on history, its echoes resounding through time. From fierce Allied resistance to Nazi Germany's paratrooper tenacity, Crete taught invaluable lessons in human courage. The battle became a stark strategic lesson. Innovative defense against overwhelming airborne assault shapes future conflict. Yet, beneath tactical brilliance, lay war's brutal reality. Unimaginable suffering and devastating, inescapable destruction for all involved. Even Nazi Germany's elite paratroopers, feared across Europe, could be utterly crushed by resolute defense. Superior firepower combined with fierce, unwavering resistance proved decisive, turning the tide against seemingly unstoppable forces. Reflect on Crete's immense human cost. Lives sacrificed, families shattered, a somber testament to war's ultimate price. The battle held profound strategic implications, altering future airborne operations and shaping the Mediterranean theater forever. Dive deeper into history's epics. Subscribe to Viridian Ages for more cinematic narratives. Like, share, and comment below.